Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Microphone.
Swamini ji Pranam. As we all know, our country got freedom since 1947, but since 2014, most Hinduism taking place in our country. Our ancient scripture book teaching how to become sannyasi. In last 100 years, do we have any sannyasi as mentioned in our ancient Veda? Question to ask this question to understand why is Vedanta not productive and popular in mass people. And in your opinion, what is the solution? So many more learning take place for this teaching.
Both are very good questions. The first question is, the Jivan Mukti Viveka describes these sannyasis. It's an ancient text. Are there such sannyasis in India today? Yes. Yes, there are. The problem is, they are not going to put a board and say, where they live, and say, Swami so-and-so Ananda, as described in Jivan Mukti Viveka. They're not going to advertise themselves. Sannyasi means you prepare to be unheard and unsung. This is the real meaning of sannyasi. You don't do it so that you look good in orange and then you have a large following on, on the media and on paper or with a big audience, all these things. That is not sannyasa. So, those kinds of sannyasis are there, but you won't find them. You have to look for them. They are not going to be up front and center. They will not advertise. They will not say, I have an ashram here. Nothing. One such lady is there right in near Rishikesh. There is one place, Dehradun. Wonderful. Pujya Swamiji used to respect her greatly, and when she used to come visit him, he used to ask her to give a lecture on Vedanta. And she only talks in Hindi, but amazing. Really amazing. The story is also amazing. She was married, had 2 children, and then suddenly one day she said, what am I doing? Lived in a joint family, wrote a letter and left home. And that was what, 30, 40 years ago. She left home and then she wandered here, there, became a hermit, got studied with a guru, got initiated, everything. And then her disciples built her a small ashram. I have been there. Very nice it is. And she stayed there. Yet, yet whenever she talks, the question she is most asked, and she was asked this question in front of me also when she was giving satsang. The question she is most asked is not, what is your incredible journey and how did you do this? Or tell me something about Satyam or Mithya. The question she is asked is, how could you have left your husband and children? That is the question, because people focus on that. So yes, there are sannyasis, and as it is given in the book. Then the next question, the essence of it anyway, is how to make Vedanta more popular. It's $1 million question with the masses. Masses are masses because that's not, masses means you go with a certain flow. You don't, and for Vedanta, you have to not be part of the masses. So there itself is a contradiction. People have safety in numbers. And when they see throngs of people going somewhere, that is what one will unerringly do, thinking that that's the correct way. Kathopanishad describes this very well. There are two paths. One is called Shreyas. The other is called Preyas. And from where you stand, you can only see till the first bend. The path called Preyas appears to look very lively. The people are laughing, dancing. People are also crying. And, muncha, muncha, free me, ha, ha, trahimam, pahimam. Some words are heard. Save me, protect me, help me, ha, ha, muncha, muncha. And then also, there is a lot of merrymaking, a cacophony, a riot of colors, a cacophony of, all kinds of noises, activities, busy place. And that's where the throngs are going. And the next path, called Shreyas, is whisper quiet. Shh. Even the leaf, before it rustles, it kind of apologizes. It's that silent. And then you strain to see if there is anybody in the bushes. 2-3 fellows in orange. That's all. The aforementioned sannyasis of Jivan Mukti Viveka. That's it. What are you going to choose? And here, the infrastructure that makes the choice itself is compromised by self-ignorance. How are you going to choose? Naturally, you will choose prayers because at least it is lively and at least there are people there. And here you don't want to be lonely. It's not lonely, it's alone, but not lonely. Alone means kevala. And there is a difference between lonely and only. Yeah, there is a difference. So, but in the mind of the seeker, of these two paths, to choose one, that priority is conflated. That difference is not seen. And so all what one sees is lots of people in one side and everybody is keeping on going there, and you don't know what lies beyond the bend. And then here it's just a lonely path. So the one thinks, and one makes the mistake of joining the crowd. And this is a mistake because what represents by the crowd is this same old, same old thing. reproduce life, reproduce death. Then in the next life, reproduce one more life and one more death. That's why the Kathopanishad also says, from death to death they go. The word preyas means that which is dear to one. And this kind of activities look dear to one. They catch you. And then the other one is Shreyas. Shreyas means the most exalted path. So often one confuses the bright, shiny for that which is, for that which is exalted. And this is the mistake. And the Kathopanishad also says, this is how it says, Shreyascha preyascha manushyametaha. Shreyas and preyas both approach the person. Tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. Having examined the two closely, the person has to choose. Dhiraha shreyaha abhipreyo vrinite. The dhira, the person with wisdom, viveka, the person with discrimination, is able to choose Shreyas over Preyas. Shreyas means moksha. Pursuing the reason for all the pursuits. Querying the desirer. Looking into the wanting person. That is Shreyas. Self-enquiry is Shreyas. So for that it requires a lot of emotional maturity and wisdom, discrimination, a calm mind, ability to discern, all this. And so a few will choose Shreyas. And then, who chooses Preyas? Preyaha mandaha yogakshemad vrinite. The manda, the one whose senses are dulled by the addiction to various objects, chooses Preyas, not once, not twice, repeatedly, at any given time. Why? Yoga kshemat, out of fear that one's needs and wants will not be met. This is yoga and kshema. Apraptasya prapanam yogaha. Praptasya rakshanam kshemaha. What is this? That which is not gained, the gain of that which is not gained is called yoga. Then protecting what you, so it's not enough to gain what you don't have. With great difficulty you have it, then you got it, then you have to keep it under lock and key. That is called kshema. Protecting what you have, keeping at bay what you don't want, getting rid of something you wanted 5 years ago but now you don't want it. All these things comprise yoga and kshema. This yoga, kshema pursuits define one's life. This is what one's life is. All the time, either pursuing something that one wants or avoiding something that one doesn't want. This is yoga, kshema. Why did people come here? To pursue something they want, which is this self-knowledge. And then, sometimes people avoid coming here. Why? In order to avoid what they don't want, whatever is represented. Supposing somebody decides not to come here, they want to avoid this place because it is not what they want. What is given here is not what they want. Whole life goes like this. And that is the addiction to yoga, kshema pursuits makes one choose the wrong things. That is why in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th chapter, in fact in the middle of the 9th chapter, we have a very famous and beautiful verse. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahami aham. In fact, that last portion, Yogakshemam Vahami Aham, has been co-opted by a company in India called Life Insurance Company of India. This They have just taken this from the Bhagavad Gita. It is their motto, and they have two hands, protecting a little lamp, and then underneath in this semicircular letters, Yoga Kshemam Vahamiham. Don't go to Lord Krishna, come to us. That is the message. We will take care of your yoga and kshema for a small monthly fee. This is what they advertise. So, this is a very famous verse. So, the vah, to carry. I will carry. I will carry the burden of your yoga and kshema. What you want and what you don't want, what you need and what you don't need, you don't become busy trying to fulfill those needs and wants and keep at bay what you don't need and what you don't want. You leave that to me. This is what Ishvara says to the jiva. And what does the jiva say? It's like somebody offering to carry the bag. And if somebody offers to carry your bag, you say graciously thank you and you give the bag. Unless one is a 2-year-old. No, I want to carry it all by myself. This is what it is. So the jiva doesn't let go. No, I want to do it all by myself. Why you? Who are you? I want to carry it. You don't have to carry it. And so one doesn't let go. Even after this promise, and the Bhagavad Gita is full of these kinds of promises. They are really, those verses stand out. Another such promise is, Name bhaktah pranashyati. My devotee, anybody who's devoted to the Lord, to Ishvara, will not be destroyed. This is a wonderful promise. Sambhavami yuge yuge. I will keep coming. Why? Because obviously you're not very good at taking care of your affairs. You keep needing repeated incarnated visits from me, even though the whole world is my incarnation. In every carnation there is an incarnation. You don't know that. So I have to keep coming. That's another promise. So like this, there are many promises. Those verses stand out. And this one is also a very important promise. And here, it's almost as though Lord Krishna, taking pity on Arjuna, says, you are carrying such a big burden of guilt, of hurt, of this war which you are not ready to fight, but which must be fought. And you are just all twisted up in a knot over your priorities, wrong priorities. Let go a little bit. Let me carry it for you. And here is where the Shraddha, Bhakti, trust, and the ability to let go must be cultivated. When that is cultivated, then it is easy. Who are the people for whom this burden will be carried? Everybody who surrenders really. But then here, Bhagavan is talking of a special set of people. Ananyas chintayantaha mam. Those who are contemplating upon me as the truth of themselves. Those who are inquiring into me from that place of oneness, as non-separate from I, non-separate from Ishvara. And then Ananya, ye janaha, which people, paryupasate, they worship me as, they worship the knowledge that leads to the truth of me as the truth of themselves. Tesham, for them, nitya abhiyuktanam. Nityabhiyuktanam. Nityabhiyuktanam means they are always like this. It's not that they attend one Vedanta class and then go away. They just dabbled into the enquiry of the self as Ishvara, and then they lost interest, and that is not Nitya. That is not engaged in this enquiry in a committed manner. Or somebody else came for a short time because they were sad, and then they got happy again, and then they left. No. A committed, dedicated pursuit. So for such people, Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam, for such people who have a committed, dedicated, who have chosen to know me as themselves, I will take care of all the things they need and want. And this is really true. You start applying your life, your mind to Vedanta. At first there will be fears. Who will pay the bills? And who will do this? What will happen? All these things. But if you are ready, and if you are ready to let go, it will work out. You may not get all that you want, but you will get what you need. You will get what you need to keep you in this knowledge. Because this is the human destiny. And if you are following your destiny, then all the other things have to fall in place. This is a universal law. If you are doing what you are supposed to do, then everything will fall in place. All the needs will be met. They will be taken care of. Now, of course, here I have to mention, not as you want them to be taken care of. You can't ask Bhagavan, what? Only dal and rice? Where is chocolate cake? I had ordered pasta. Where is pasta? Eggplant, what is that called? Parmesan. Where is that? Yeah. Where is eggplant parmesan? What is this? And the chai is little fika, meaning it is little bland. Needs more sugar. That you have to let go. But what you need will come. What you need to fill the belly, what you need to study, what you need to do, this will come. But how many people are ready to make this choice? How many people are ready to make this choice? And one time, some people were complaining to Pujya Swamiji. Swamiji, you're not calling us to join the ashram. Why? Swamiji said, because if I really call, you will not come. You will just not come. You'll say, oh, I have to put a few affairs in order. I have to do this. Grandchild is being born. Great-grandchild will be born. Something else. Like this. How many people are ready to make this commitment? Very, very few. And so that's why Vedanta was never popular earlier, never that popular, and never popular even now. It's not something that people, run to. If you have homa, yajna, then every Chandi homa, this, yeah. Chandi is not an ordinary goddess, okay, yeah. You just have to look at the people inimical to you, finished. They are gone, okay. They are extinct. She makes all inimical beings to you extinct if you supplicate, if you surrender to her. And Chandi Homa has to be done in this huge pit. They will put 5, 6, 9-yard saris as an offering for the goddess. Huge fire. And it goes on because that Saptashati, the 700 verses, Durga Saptashati is read. And one verse, one offerings. Sometimes multiple offerings in one verse. And then it takes a long time. And then people make a beeline for it. Huge crowds. Nobody says, I'm homad out. Yeah. But people do say, I'm swamied out. This was somebody, once I went to Atlanta and Atlanta story. In Vidya's house one time. So there, this one lady used to always come. And I said, where is she? And Vidya was very apologetic. She said, I don't know how to tell you this, but 2, 3 swamis came before you And she was very active in serving them, and now she says she's swamied out. Yeah. But no one is homared out. Nobody is restauranted out. And nobody is movied out. Nobody is vacationed out. Nobody is gossiped out. No, nobody is chocolate caked out. But one is swamied out, Vedanta'd out. Vedanta is seen as a little, little dabbling. After that, oh, I want to get back to my real life. Hello, this is the real life, okay? So people are not ready to make that. That's why when you see sketches of Adi Shankara, you see those 4 dedicated students. Yeah. So by that standard, I think we are doing very well. Yeah. So this is why people don't take to this life. And that is why, that is why the Swamis who teach currently, not only in this tradition, but in all other traditions in India, we have had the blessing of seeing how to make Vedanta applicable to people in their daily lives. And people talk on that. Those are the talks that people attend very well. So if you say, if you have a topic, what is renunciation, 2-3 people will come. But if you have a topic called renunciation in daily life, everybody will come. So that whatever you can talk about whatever you want, but you add in daily life at the end of every topic. Then that is how it is. You have to make it more relevant. And a lot of Swamis are doing that. And there is a spiritual renaissance everywhere right now, thanks to the Karuna virus. Yes, the virus of compassion, which has made us much more spiritual. People who would never attend online classes, they were like, oh, I don't believe in this. Now they are all attending online. And so things, can change. Maybe it will change, but right now it is how it is. Later, yeah. Yeah, this is a very important one. How to get over a person that one has been romantically involved with. What is the best way to let go? Yeah, because what one is in love with is not so much the person, but what they represent. The concept of the person somehow becomes bigger than the person, especially after the relationship has ended, especially if you did not want it to end. And so there is some kind of a bereavement. And there is bereavement also in death, but it has a finality. It has a finality. That person is not going to come back. And even if you don't accept it right yet, over time you will see that, okay, they are not coming back. It will sink in. But with somebody, in your life who's not there in your life, but they are very much in other people's lives, that is the rub here. They are very much in other people's life. And so, and you may, you can follow them these days. You can follow them on social media and find out what they are up to. And that just puts a salt on the wound and rubs it. And then you may even run into them somewhere, because maybe there were some common concentric circles in which intersecting circles, in which you all moved. And you may run into them somewhere. And this becomes extremely painful. There is no such thing as a gradual breakup. Yeah, that's a dangerous thing. You decide, okay, sometimes you're not in a position to decide because the other person has already decided, whatever it is. You still be proactive and decide, this is it. And then do not look for them on the internet or on the outer net. If you need to move somewhere else, a different building, if they are in the same building, or different town or something. Oh, why do I have to move? Why they don't move? That is because they are not affected. You're the one who is affected. You're the one who is asking the question. So, you be proactive and protect your heart from further trauma by putting a deliberate and a disciplined distance. This is an act of self-love. Because there is, the reason why it is difficult to let go is because the inner child holds out a hope. Some hope. Oh, maybe it will change. Yes, the person is terrible, but maybe he or she will change. Yes, the person is not good for me, but maybe they will be good for me. One day, sometime. This is a romantic fantasy. It is just some kind of a fantasy. It is wishful thinking. It is wishing for that mother or father that one wanted to have. That is why in the meditation we offload the internalized mother. We offload the internalized father. Many times we do that. Here also we did it one time. Because this is what is carried all the time. One wanted the mother to be more available. One wanted the father to be more stable. One wanted the mother to be more loving. One wanted the father to be more forgiving. All this is there in the heart. It's not obviously there, because if it's obviously there, you can make it, you can make the connections. But it is there in a covert way. That's why it's called unconscious. You're not conscious of it. And then when you meet somebody who looks like a prospective partner, immediately those needs, they are not your adult needs. Because if they are adult needs, you can reason with them. But these are not, these are unreasonable, because they defy logic. So they come out, one is in search for a perfect mother, a perfect father. This is what is going on. And so there is a projection of the feelings, and the inner child is on a search for the perfect mother. And in this person, one feels like one has got it. Even though the relationship was far from perfect. It wasn't perfect perhaps, but it was familiar. Meaning, it had that same familiar thing like a family dynamic. It was also dysfunctional in the same ways. Often that is the case. So it's a great act of self-love to recognize this and put a distance. And spend some time just thinking about these things. Because each time one comes out of a relationship, it's a wonderful time for self-enquiry, because the wounds are all there, they are raw, they will talk. You talk to the wounds and see what is it that's hurting. You reason with them, you talk to them. It's a gift really. It's a gift of knowing yourself psychologically, which is a very important way to know yourself. And then that's, and then put a distance, a disciplined distance. And if you feel like calling them, hide the phone from yourself. And if you feel like going on the internet and looking for them, then just do something else. Change the channel. And get to the place. First you pretend not to care what they are doing, but and then you get to the place where you really don't care what they are doing. They do not have power over you. First, their presence had power over you. Now, their absence is having power over you. You don't allow that anymore. Okay? Yeah. How to be detached but not dissociated from my surroundings and duty. Actually, I don't use the word detached. Because the word, I don't use it. Maybe rarely once I might say it, but I don't use, it's not generally in my vocabulary. And there is a reason for that, because we are talking of the I that is never attached, right? Only that which is attached can become detached. Such as a train compartment from the rest of the train, detached. Or the retina. There it is okay to use retinal detachment. Because it was attached, now it is detached. One needs to go in for some surgery to fix it. But here, it's not that you have Atma attachment and then Atma detachment. Atma is never attached. That's why there is no way to say, there is no need to say detached. So the I is never being attached. No need to say detached, because words are powerful, and if we use these words, then we get confused. So if the question is, how can I be detached? You're not wanting to say detached. You're wanting to say, how can I be not too involved in the things and yet not be dissociated? Very good question, wonderful question. Spend some time every morning looking upon whatever your eyes fall upon as Ishvara. That will bring in the delight back. There is miracle every day. Every day the weather does something new. Every day the birds chirp. Every day the trees have some, have some nice quivering in the breeze. Every day the sun shines, and in all this there is great joy. The Jagat is Ananda. Jagat is Satchidananda. Jagat is Ananda. We don't say the world is sorrow. That is not the position of Vedanta at all. World is joy. It's joyful. If I see it as sorrow, it's because I have samsaritis. That is the problem. So, what is samsaritis? When the head is inflamed, buddhi inflammation because of samsara, wrong understanding of samsara, wrong understanding of Jagat. So, here is where we can help ourselves by cultivating an attitude of that of a small child, spontaneous, ever present. Sometimes people confuse uninvolvement with jaded apathy, and one starts to belabor under the hypothesis, oh, I must be enlightened because I'm not interested in anything. You're not enlightened. You're dejected. Yeah. You're apathetic. So, cultivate that interest in everything. And look upon everything. The whole world is Ishvara. Jagat is Ishvara. Ishvara is the universe. And then that takes care of two things at once. First is, it keeps you uninvolved because it's all Ishvara. What are you going to do? You can't change it, you can't transform it. It keeps you in acceptance, and then it keeps you in joy because it's all Ishvara. I have chronic illness due to inflammation. When it flares up, I have this short-lived vairagya and could not vow not to eat things that hurt me. But as soon as the medicine goes in the system, I feel better, and my compliance to stick to my diet does not stay. Conviction doesn't stay. Then I feel lost and guilty because I'm hurting myself. How to overcome this lack of conviction and create more discipline? Very good question. Because that is what is self-sabotage. That is what Jiva does best. Saw off the branch upon which it sits. Yeah. Slowly, methodically. And then wonder, how did I fall? Oh no. Then sit on the other branch. Maybe don't take the saw with you. Takes the saw again, climbs up another branch, and then goes on. This is nothing to feel bad about, because everybody does this. And then suddenly there is a vindication. Thank God, I'm not the only one. You know, in Ayurveda, there is this, what is that? Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These three humors or principles. And then in each person, one is more predominant than the other two, etc. Like this, it will be there. And sometimes they are mixed doshas. And sometimes one is more predominant, the other one is secondary. Like this, it will be there. So for Kapha predominant people, they should avoid sweets. They should avoid oily things. And they should avoid pungent things. But usually, Kapha people who wish to subsist on a diet of samosas and gulab jamuns. This is what they want. Gulab jamuns mean ball of calories put in 3-string sugar syrup. And then samosa means what? Some kind of a triangular fried treat. Very tasty, very spicy. With some stuffing. And this is what they want to subsist on. You give that to them, breakfast, lunch and dinner, they are very happy. And you tell them, why are you eating this? This is going to send you to your grave. Yeah, they'll say it is a grave matter, but then they'll continue to eat it. Because that's how it is, And the Vata people are told to, it's like dry, airy quality. And the people are also thin and wiry to look at. And they are told, please stay away from dry things, like chips and all these things. I have not come across a single Vata person who doesn't like chips. Not even like, they want it with every meal. So this is how nature is. This is how the system is. The thing one needs to, diet-wise, even otherwise, the thing that one needs to most avoid is the thing that's the most difficult to avoid. That is why this is a karma bhumi. That is why we are here to reverse those things. Sometimes you have to bypass the conscious mind. Because the conscious mind is the one that is deciding and is the one that is breaking that decision repeatedly. Then the conscious mind also has to deal with other emotions, hopelessness, fear, and dejection, depression, all these things. So there are lots of things on the internet. What is that? Little hypnosis with regard to food issues, etc. Just watch a couple of videos. It will give some auto suggestions by bypassing the conscious mind. So even though you don't agree with it, it's very effective. Very, very effective. And it doesn't cost anything. There are so many videos on how to eat healthy, how to avoid the things that are hurtful to you, all these things. So, and also food, the other reason why this happens is food is something very primal. It is mistaken for love, because that is how the baby got love from the mother, was through the food. It got both food and love in the act of being fed. And so it's very difficult to distinguish as an adult what is food for sustenance and what is love. So I think one has to become a bahudaka to find that out. Are there selfish and selfless motivations to pursue Vedanta, and what are their implications? For instance, pursuing Vedanta to get peace versus pursuing it to spread peace. Thankfully, there is no difference. Okay? So you can be rest assured. Then, oh, this is a different question in the same handwriting. Okay, all right. So, are there selfish and selfless motivations to pursue Vedanta? Nothing is selfless as far as Vedanta is concerned. Because it's all for the sake of you. Like I was saying earlier in the talk, one of the talks today, if you say, I want to spread world peace, who is it for? Is it for the world, or is it for because you can't stand the world in conflict? No, I just want everybody to be happy. What do you get out of it? I also get peace. Okay, that's what it is. So nothing is selfless because everything is done for the sake of the pleased self. To keep the self pleased, to keep the self in harmony, whatever that self which I don't understand. So there is nothing selfless. Vedanta is not a Rotary club whose motto is service before the self. If there is no self, how can there be service? This is what we would ask. That Satchidananda Atma is everything. And so when you pursue Vedanta, you are doing a big social service in many ways. You are studying deeply and getting rid of your self-ignorance, number one. Number two, that of course has a ricocheting effect on others. You may be inspiring others, even without opening your mouth, because there is calmness, there is a sense of non-want. Most importantly, other people don't have to keep you in good humor. This is a very good social service. They don't have to be afraid of you. They don't have to be afraid that you will go off and get angry. All this. So it's a very good thing. Vedanta is for the self. And the self that is described in Vedanta is the self of all. So even though you say, I want to study Vedanta in order to teach it, I would say, first study it for yourself. Then you will be guided what to do, where to go, what to do with that knowledge. Yeah. Then another question. Follow up from yesterday. If Brahman is everything, it must also be the body, mind, senses and matter. Yes. How do we rationally deduce that this is the case? Deduction is a term from logic. Brahman is beyond logic. It cannot be established by logic, because if it were to be established by logic, then it would be dependent upon logic in order to be existent. And that I find rather illogical. So it is not dependent upon logic. Logic cannot reveal Brahman because Brahman is beyond logic. And so therefore, you can't, so the word deduction, induction, inference, etc., all these come under logic. Brahman is not up for inference. Brahman cannot be caught by inference because it is the content of the inferer. The one who is seeking to infer is Brahman. So it's not a subject matter of inference. So body, mind, sense complex is Brahman. How do we know? We know it from studying Chandogya Upanishad. We know it from studying the Taittiriya Upanishad. Tasmad va etasmat atmanah akashas sambhutah. From this Atma, space came, as it were. From space, air came. From air, fire came. From fire, water was born. From water, earth was born. From the earth, food was born. And from the food, the people were born. Jivas were born. This is not something logic. This is a revelation. And to accept this revelation requires an attitude which is called Shraddha, which is giving the benefit of doubt to this revelation, to assimilate this revelation, rather than shoot it down immediately and say, this must not, this must not be the case. You won't find proof. Please prove to me there is Ishvara. Prove where is Ishvara. All these things you will not find. This is not something to be proven because it's not scientific. It is not logical. Scientific means based on inference. Logical means based on inductions, deductions, which is again forms of inference. It is knowing the researcher. It's knowing the content of the seeker. And that has to be given from an authority that is outside of you, which is why it is very difficult to understand it. Because we don't trust the source. What is the Veda? And what is Vedanta? That itself poses a lot of problems. And then another problem that is posed is that, in this Vedanta I can't even read on my own. I have to beg all my hopes for enlightenment, quote unquote, on a guru who is again unknown. And so like this it requires a mindset to accept Vedanta as a means of knowledge that has something to reveal for which I don't have any other method of seeing. That is what it takes. How should a Vedanta student eat? Smiley face at the end. Yeah. We'll just keep it simple and go to the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yukta aharaha, yukta aharaha, yukta viharaha. See, you're getting more than eating. You're also getting how to move. How should a Vedanta student move? Yukta cheshta karmasu. Yukta swapnaha. Yukta avabodhaha. This is the sadhana that is given. Very simple, very easy. Yukta means proper, appropriate. Aharaha. The intake. Ahara means that which is taken inside. Who decides what is appropriate? How to decide what is appropriate? What is appropriate means you should not be so full that you cannot move, and at the same time you should not be so hungry that when you sit and meditate, you don't say, bhojanaya namaha. You don't chant the mantra, namaha unto the food. Where is the food? And the hunger is not allowing me to meditate. So it's somewhere in between. It is a good practice. If you say this is too vague, you give me something practical, day-to-day tips, okay? It might be a good idea. You fill up your plate. You know how much you eat. Put all the things that you eat on the plate. And either break it up or cut it up into 15 portions. Yeah. Why 15? The cycle of the moon. One cycle of the moon, 15. Make it into 15 small portions. And eat each one joyously. eat each portion joyously. Chew it well. This all comes under yukta. Chew it well, eat each one joyously, each piece. And then this is unexpected. You thought you just had one plate of food, now there is 15 morsels. It looks more, it's nice. And so this is a good practice. And the Ayurveda says, half the food, fill up half the stomach with food. How do I know what is the half stomach? Fill it up completely one day. And then, whatever it is, eat half of that, okay? That is, fill up half the stomach with food, and 1/4 you fill up with water, and then the rest you leave it empty for enough room for the food and the digestive juices and airs to circulate. Think of it as a, washing machine. Yeah. You fill it up too much, it will not circulate. It will not go in the spin cycle properly. It will have a malfunction. So this is called yuktahara. Then the moving also, going around, should be, for the Vedanta student, should be also moderate. Yukta means moderation. So it should be in moderation. You have come to Vedanta, and then, that should be primary. And then having a six-pack abdominal wise, should be secondary. Instead, focus on the six-pack, Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. These are the qualifications. Having a resolved mind, having a non-reactive organs of action, having forbearance, not reacting all the time, having the ability to just greet difficulties with a smiling face. Difficulties are also Ishvara. Swamiji used to say, more the difficulties, more the presence of Ishvara in your life. Greet it like that. So though this is the real six-pack you have to develop. Yeah. Not, not in terms of the stomach looking like a six-pack. So Shamadama, Uparati. Uparati means letting go. Shraddha, reverence, devotion for the knowledge. Samadhanam, single-pointed, single-minded focus. No, but I really like body building. Yeah, build the body a little bit, no problem. Build the body for the sake of Vedanta, rather than for the sake of something else. Yeah. This is the change, a shift in priorities. Yukta vihara. Yukta cheshta. Cheshta means bodily movements. And some people, just like to gesticulate, culturally also. They say that Italians talk with their hands. Have you heard that expression? Yeah. Yeah. They just talk with their hands. They keep gesturing. And maybe that is not needed. Yet just because you are studying Vedanta and you are studying the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, you don't have to be some kind of a, big bore sitting in one place like a blob. No. Moderation. I'm trying to get over joy and sorrow, so I'm going to sit like this. Dour-faced. That's not the point. Enjoy. Life is short, it's beautiful. Enjoy. Smile, laugh, cry, but not in excess. That's the idea. Everything in moderation. Jump, but not too high, because then the fall won't be. Don't hit the ceiling, because then there's a long way to come down when there are, unfavorable situations. Actually, if you manage the joy, then the sorrow is easier to manage. Then Yukta Swapna and Avabodha. Appropriate sleeping. Swapna here is not dream, it means sleep. Appropriate sleeping. It's, in the quote unquote regular or non Vedanta life, what do we have, 2 days of the week, one is a night owl. Because you don't have to get up the next day to go to work or to do things. Weekdays there is one schedule. Weekend there is another schedule. Well, the ashrams have taken care of that fully. Every day you wake up at 4 o'clock. Finished. It's a no-brainer. So it's a cycle. You put yourself on a cycle. And you respect that cycle because that cycle is doing something to your body overtly. But covertly it is also affecting your mind, your priorities, your buddhi. It is beautiful. A life, a very disciplined life of no excess. Yukta Swapna. And because if you oversleep, then the whole day will go groggy. Everything will be groggy. And then, then forget Vedanta class. You will be going immediately into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Yeah. And same thing if you don't sleep on time. You will still be sitting and going into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. How do I know? Because everyone is sitting in front of me. Yeah. Sometimes, I'll be thinking, okay, this is how much I will cover, or this is some idea may come. Okay, maybe I can finish this verse. Sometimes I can't because I have to break into a story. Why? Half the class is gone. Yeah. And some people have perfected the art of falling asleep with their eyes open to fool the teacher. To them I have to say, nice try. How to eat like a Vedantin. Yeah. Two questions from online. These online people are very active. Every day they are sending questions. Thank you for highlighting the significance of having a live guru who can explain with examples that are applicable to the present time. Once we have identified with our guru and expressed it, how do we relate to the sadhus in the same lineage as well as sadhus from different lineage? With respect. That's all. That's easy. Very easy question. Sadhu means the person parakaryan sadhnoti iti sadhu. Meaning the person has given their life for service. Parakaryan. Other people's works. Sadhnoti. They want to accomplish something not just for themselves but for others. And so that itself, commands respect. That itself commands respect. So you deal with everybody with respect. That's all. You respect all the sadhus. Then, the Jivan Mukti Viveka text seems to present Vairagya as seeing the world as anatma and then practicing renunciation by finding fault with and cultivating revulsion for the objects of the world. Yes. The Shastra includes statements such as, all that is here is Ishvara and all that arises in our lives is Ishvara Prasada. Why not then present Vairagya as renouncing seeing the world as anatma or as other than Ishvara or Prasada? It's a many-part question, so I'll address this one first. That is the end. That is where we are headed. But it has to be accomplished in stages because of all the paradoxes. So first, if one is told, everything is Ishvara, they may not follow that because Ishvara is yet an entity to be discovered as oneself or as the maker of the universe or as the source of the universe. So that takes time. That's a process. So Vedanta 101, you say, Dvauhi padarthau, only two things in the world. Atma, Anatma, no. One is Atma and the other one is not. Because the Atma is confused for the Anatma confused for the Atma. That's why the separation is needed and then the unification is taught. That is Vedanta PhD. Yeah. But Vedanta 101, you have to separate because they are so entangled. It's all one, but there is an entanglement. So first you separate, you sift, you separate, you highlight the Atma, you learn to recognize it as the truth of the I, you learn to recognize it and revel in it as consciousness, as awareness, etc. And then you can say that, okay, not just this body is blessed by consciousness, other bodies are also blessed by consciousness. Why only bodies? Even bodies of water. Why only human bodies or animal bodies or sentient bodies? Bodies of water, bodies of land, bodies of trees, bodies of rocks. Everything is blessed by consciousness. This is mid-level understanding. And then furthermore, as more emotional maturity comes, as the person is able to see, for it's a process, it's a pedagogical unfoldment, a very systematic and a deliberate unfoldment. Then the next level is to say that, okay, everything is consciousness, and that consciousness is non-separate from Ishvara. Everything is Ishvara. Whatever comes is prasada. There you are cultivating acceptance, and you are one more step closer to understanding this oneness, which is presented gradually in assimilable steps. Then finally, that Ishvara being you, everything is an extension of you. That is how it is presented. And it is done deliberately so that one doesn't get overwhelmed or sidetracked and say, okay, if Anatma is Atma, that means I can go after Anatma, and then wonder, what happened? Why am I not getting Atma? Because that Anatma is Atma is not known, is not understood. That is why. So that is why there is a beautiful, just like the flower. First it is in form of a bud. Then suddenly it doesn't open. It opens a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit, and then finally it blossoms. So this too is a process of growing clarity. Then there is a next question. What is there to find revolting about bird droppings? Why make such a value judgment over an ordained part of the ecosystem? If you get the droppings on you, just wash them off. I agree. There is nothing, it just is there. Revolting means people don't like, excreta. That's all it is. It's just the human mind. Whether it is the birds or anything, one is not very happy with that. And if one, if it is, really speaking, ideally speaking, there should be nothing revolting. And if it bothers you, you can go wash it off or whatever it is. But this is a teaching text. This is a teaching text. And to make it relatable, most people would find it, disgusting to suddenly have in their head, the bird dropping. They would want to wash it off and can't wait to get home. And please develop that same revulsion towards the Jagat. The same kind of a mild revulsion towards the Jagat. This is just an example, not to be taken too seriously. Yeah. Any other example, why did they not give? They could have. And now they are not there, so we can't ask them why they didn't give. Why not that, if all that is here is Ishvara, whatever appears, including bird droppings, is essentially of the nature of wholeness and non-separateness? A maligning attitude to the world would seem to be more aligned with the fragmentation and setting oneself up as separate from and in opposition to the world as given. Yes, agreed. And what was the first part? Yeah, why not see, why not that if everything is Ishvara, whatever appears, including the dropping, is essentially of the... Yeah, that is true. But as I said, it's a teaching text. It's a teaching text, which is, and not just a teaching text. It's a basic teaching text. It's what I call Vedanta 101 teaching text. If you were to study something else, like another slightly different text which has a different take on this, which is not a beginning text, this will not be there. That this attitude, of separating will not be there. First you separate in order to unite. And with that, we are dropping the topic of droppings. Your question tomorrow, okay, yeah. Every day you are asking anyway. I'm happy. You can ask tomorrow, all right? Yeah. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.